Online draft is the best way to form teams for leagues. Let's see how it works. First, create a new group. Enter a group name, and then select the players type. We're going to import our players from a CSV file. First, let's take a look at what that file looks like. Only first and last name are required. All other fields are optional. The columns can be in any order. ID is your league's numeric ID. The ratings column allows you to apply a league player rating. Save your file as a CSV and select it here. Now we need to map the online draft fields to the columns from your CSV file. Again, only first and last name are required. You can match all the other fields, and if you don't want to use any field, just select Ignore. Okay, I've mapped all these fields now. I'll select Review Map Players. And here are all the players. I can make any changes if necessary, but I'll click Import Players. I've added my 110 players. I'll click on View and Manage to take a look. Great, all the data's here. We can now add some coaches. Now let's add a couple coaches. To add a coach, you can enter their email address and name, so we'll go ahead and add one here. In addition to entering an email address and name like we're doing here, you also can send out an invitation link. With the first partner added, we'll add one more. Okay, we've added 2 partners for this simple example. Let's continue to set up the draft. We'll click on Create New Draft, and now we'll continue configuring our draft. First, we'll enter the draft start date and time, and then we'll move on to the draft order. Initially, we set this to 110, but we'll change it to 30. So we have 3 teams of 10, so 10 picks each coach. Now the next section is picks per round, and this is simple because each coach gets 1 pick per round. So in this next section, we'll leave it at 3. And now we move on to the draft order wizard. Set the initial order yourself or use one of our randomizing functions, and then decide whether you want to use a snake draft or a repeating draft. And there's our draft order. With our draft order set, we're ready to start our draft. But before we do, let's take a look at the draft board. Now, as an administrator, you can make any pick from the draft, including picks before the draft begins. So in this scenario, we're pre-selecting or slotting a few players. We'll do one for each player here. Those 3 players were selected in those exact positions. When those turns come up in the draft, those picks will be skipped automatically. Now we've pre-selected 3 players. Let's go back to the live draft. The live draft page has a draft chat, available players, selected players, and of course the draft order. When you're ready to start the draft, click on the Start Draft Now button. When it's a coach's turn to pick, their screen will turn green, indicating that it's their turn. They can make their selection from the live draft page. We'll go down here, select the player, and then say Select Player. All the coaches can be present in the same room, or they can be logged in, or they can receive turn text or turn emails whenever it's their turn. The draft will continue this way until all the picks have been made. The administrator has the ability to pause the draft at any time. Once paused, the administrator can make a pick for any coach. We can manually pick, use auto draft, or skip a pick. We'll go ahead and auto pick this pick. The administrator can leave the draft pause to make more picks, or resume the draft to allow coaches to pick for themselves. When the draft is over, the results are available to everybody. Use the filters in the left column to view the players assigned to a particular coach. I'll select Dale, and there are all his players. Use the Excel button in the left column to download your roster. Online draft is the most efficient and fun way to form teams for leagues.